Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Temple of Speed. Since 1911, the place every race driver wants to turn some laps on. For the second time, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs come to Indy. Nearly 900 drivers going for 26 gold medals. Indy, it's all about racing. It's Haggerty Race Day, and we are getting ready to put Formula V's on the track. Thanks to Mazda for sponsoring our SCCA Runoffs video coverage. My name's John Phippen. Happy to be with you. Larry McLeod alongside me, and Haywood Wagner down on the pit lane. Larry, Formula V's always one of my favorite classes.
They never disappoint. It's going to be close racing, side-by-side, draft trains, and it's a family affair. We'll get into all of that stuff. I love watching V's. It's certainly one of my favorite ones to be around.
Absolutely, and we've got 48 of them on the starting grid, so it's one of our bigger classes this weekend. Of course, we've got a couple that are up in the 70s, but this is certainly one of the bigger ones. But we've got a Mazda track map, thanks to our friends from Mazda for providing this. And Larry, take us around.
Sure. You're kind of going to come down across the bricks, down into turn one, and we're going to see 4, 5, maybe even 6 wide the first time they go into there. It's going to be tight racing. They might get it funneled down to maybe 3 wide or even 2 wide by the time they go through the corners up through 6. But when they get to that home and back straight, we're probably going to see a few go wide again, 2, 3, 4 wide. As we enter then Sector 2 with the S's, turn 7 through 10, and then they get back onto the oval road course, or the oval maybe going counterclockwise. Turn 2, we get to go clockwise all the way down into turn 12, another opportunity for braking. But the key here is going to be set up the exit of 13, because that gets you down that extensively long run in a V. That's an extremely long run, and opportunities exist for passing. Exactly.
The most important turn on any racetrack is the one leading on to the longest straightaway, and that means turn 14 here at the Indianapolis road course. Another way Mazda supports racers and teams is through the Mazda Team Support Program, in which racers are eligible for the largest contingency awards from any of the car makers, as well as parts and technical support. And we thank Mazda for their ongoing sponsorship of our broadcast. And you can see the grid of cars, and down there amongst them is the third member of our broadcast team, Haywood Wagner. Hey, Haywood.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm standing here with our pole sitter for Formula V, and I just want to give folks a chance to look at a couple of the features of these cars. Formula V stands for Volkswagen, and what you're looking at here is stock Volkswagen suspension parts from Type 2s, Volkswagen Beetles, 60s era, designed in the 40s and 50s more or less. This is very... it's actually become harder to source parts for in recent years, but this is very basic suspension setup. The idea of this class was that you could go and buy a crashed Volkswagen street car, pull the suspension bits off, pull the engine bits, and put together a pretty fun race car. One of the stories in this class has always been about the brakes. If you look inside the rear wheel right here on our pole car, that is a drum brake. That works by the brake shoes pushing out against the drums. And the dark art of Formula V for a long, long time was tuning those drum brakes, so you had great pedal feel and very, very little drag. The pole sitter, second place, brothers, they're running drums. Everybody else on the grid has switched over to disc.
Thanks, Hayward. That's a great indication of Formula V, one of the oldest classes. In fact, Larry, we were just talking about it before we went on the broadcast. I think Formula V is one of the few classes that was in the very first runoffs out at Riverside. And it's showing you that 50-some years later, here we are still successfully talking about 48 cars going to take the grid today. This class is still, I'd say it's in its heyday. I think it's been its heyday for 58 years. And there's been a change in the regulation in recent years with the tires in Formula Vs. Yeah, a little bit, and I think that's allowed a little bit better competition among these drivers. Tires management is not quite as critical, but these guys are able to get in the heat and work with those, but they still do have to do some management of these cars, not only tire temps, but engine temps in these air-cooled cars as these races develop. Exactly right, as these are the air-cooled boxer motor that's in the back of every Volkswagen Beetle, and with all of the shortcomings or whatever that might be part of that. So that's an issue that these drivers have to contend with. They've got skinny little tires, absolutely no aero. It's all down to the driver, and it's all down to racing together. This is pack racing at its best. This is as close as you'll see in any open wheel contest, the kind of wheel-to-wheel racing that these drivers put on with one another. And it's a reason that it's such a big family, because they have to have a lot of trust. They do, and they got a lot of trust, and that's what we're going to see
see in these first two rows, as we had seen Andrew Whitson, our pole sitter down there. We'll get to him in a minute. His brother Zach will be alongside him, but right behind them, not to be outdone, are the Abbotts, Brandon and Andrew. So we're going to have all these families take it up. And we'll get into the details of families. There's a lot of families. In fact, there's 4 Whitsons in this race alone, along with a few other siblings and father-son combos. But really, the other thing about Formula Vs is this class has been around so long. Globally, it's been around so long. We've got some big name drivers that have driven Vs in their past. F1 champions like K.K. Rosberg, Emerson Fittipaldi, Nelson Piquet, all started out in Formula Vs.
And there are 6 former champions in this 48-car field. The one with the most championships is Roger Siebenaller in the 72 car. Roger starts a little deeper in the field, but nonetheless, he has 3 championships to his name. His most recent one was in 2011 up at Road America. He's also been on the box 8 times, so 21 top 10 finishes in his 32 runoff starts out of the northern New Jersey region. Another driver who's been here a whole lot is Stephen Davis out of the Atlanta region in the 80 car. Stephen has 33 runoff starts to his credit. He's been fast qualifier 4 times. He won it last at Road Atlanta in 1992, just to give you an indication of the longevity of the 2-time champion. As the cars are rolling away from the false grid, we're not going to have time to introduce the entire starting grid, but we'll start at the top and try to hit the highlights for you. Andrew Whitson is your pole sitter in the number 12 car, as he will take the Tire Rack Pole Award. He is the 2019 champion back at VIR. He is also Super Sweep eligible, and he is sports cars picked to win it all. Alex Scaler starts second in the 79 car out of the South Jersey region. Zachary Whitson, one of the 4 Whitsons in the field in the 27. Oh, okay. I have a provisional grid. Forgive me. Andrew Whitson is your pole sitter. Zachary Whitson starts second. Brandon Abbott in third in the 26 car out of Farmington Hills, Michigan. Andrew Abbott in the 25 car is fourth out of Livonia, Michigan. Jeff Filipkowski in the 20 car from Bangor, Pennsylvania in the Philadelphia region. Brian Farnham out of Medina, Ohio in the 15 car starts sixth. Seventh is Chris Jennerjohn, another former champion out of Hartford City, Indiana in the Indianapolis region. Alex Scaler back in 8th position in the 79 out of Asbury, New Jersey in the South Jersey region. The 52 of Michael Ferguson from Moore, South Carolina in the Atlanta region. The 4 of Gavin Sweeney from Brooklyn, New York in the South Florida region. The 113 is Hunter Phillips Barron from Garland, Texas in the Texas region. Stephen Davis, the longtime former champion, starts 12th in the 80 car, Danielsville, Georgia from Atlanta. Ron Whitson, the father of the Whitson clan, in the 5 car out of Neenah, Wisconsin in the Milwaukee region. Dean Curtis in the 69 of East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania and the Northeast Pennsylvania region. Roger Siebenaller, a former winner out of North Hero, Vermont, northern New Jersey in car 72. Mark Farnham in the 3, another family out of Medina, Ohio and the Ohio region. Donnie Isley in car 30 out of Fletcher, North Carolina in the Central Carolinas region. 7 is Jonathan Weishaupt from Baltimore, Maryland and the Washington, D.C. region. Mark Fosbury is in car number 6 from Groton, Massachusetts and the New England region. Jeff Lawhead, another front runner in the 10 out of Darien, Illinois in the Ohio Valley region. Quinn Posner is in car number 9 from Camas, Washington in the Northwest region. Rick Shields, another former winner out of Bridgefield, Pennsylvania and the Steel Cities region. He's in car 77. Dennis Andrade is in car 87 out of Silver Lake, Washington in the Northwest region. Steve Whitson in the 18 out of Hutto, Texas, but he races out of the Milwaukee region. Ryan Donahue is out of Philadelphia in the 16 car. Robert Neumeister is in the 94 out of Pueblo, Colorado in the Colorado region. Rich Richardson is in the 99, South Pekin, Illinois, the Central Illinois region. Brian Stasinski out of Villa Park, Illinois in the Chicago region is in the 84 car. Gregory Bruns out of Moore, South Carolina in the Central Carolina region is in the 53. The 117 is Guy Bellingham out of Brantford, Ontario in the Western New York region. Alexander Bertolucci, another family driver in the 81 from Mount Prospect, Illinois, and the 14 of John Adams from Whitmore Lake, Michigan, and the Western Michigan region. The 88 is Mark Richardson from Washington, Illinois, in the Central Illinois region. Jeffrey Vallejo from Brooklyn, New York, and the New York region in the 29 car. Marjorie Lindbergh in the 24 out of Beaverton, Oregon in the South Florida region. William Stasinski in the 21 from Downers Grove, Illinois. That takes you down through 36th place as the field making its way into turn 12, and we're just about ready to get the start.
It's going to be that family start. Can the Abbotts take the Whitsons, or is it going to be the Filipkowski, Farnham, Jennerjohn? down the order to try and make passes into one. This is going to be pretty exciting.
Exactly, as we've got the 27 of Zachary Whitson alongside brother Andrew Whitson. So it's an all Whitson front row. And then Brandon Abbott and Andrew Abbott line up together. You can see identical livery on those two cars. So it's a family affair, literally. Jeff Filipkowski and Brian Farnham in row number 3.
And Hunter Phelps Barron down the order there. He was in a fantastic race at VIR 2 years ago, right in the middle between the Whitsons on the podium. He's down the order a little bit to start this race. Keep your eye on him early on. He's currently starting 11th.
Green, 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 and we are away. And it looks like Andrew Whitson gets a little bit of a jump. His brother ducks right in behind him. But we've got a car going 3 wide next to the Abbotts as they work their way down toward turn number 1. Look at the skinny tires on these Formula Vs. It's just hard to believe. We see the more contemporary Formula cars with a whole lot more rubber on the road. But Andrew Whitson, is going to lead his brother through turn number 1. Looks like everybody's successfully making it through. 4 wide through turn 1. But again, showing the respect that these drivers show one another as they work their way through that very, very tight bit of racetrack. It's the 25 of Andrew Abbott.
Yep, and the 15 of Brian Farnham there on the inside. He's the one that got that great jump down that inside, trying to hang on to it. Right now, he is splitting the Abbotts.
Brian Farnham in the Duck and Monkey Quixote Kearney D Silver Bullet FR1. And there's the 26 car of Brandon Abbott slotting into the 4th spot.
Farnham actually finished 3rd here at Indy 4 years ago. Knows how to mix it up at the front of the pack.
Alex Scaler in the 79 right behind him in that blue, Robin's Egg blue car as they work their way down the Holman Straight for the first time. Racing right to and over the inside line.
Got to protect that inside line. Oh, and they may have touched a little bit there.
Yeah, as we got a spinner and everybody's taking evasive action, but so far doing a good job. And that driver's able to get going. I think that was the 80 car of Stephen Davis, but I'm not positive.
It's like the 52. Mitch Ferguson.
There you go, thank you.
So one note about Alex Scaler is he actually ran a qualifying time that would have put him on the front row. Penalty applied, had to sit on his Wednesday qualifying times, got him back the order, which means he may have more pace than maybe he's showing here starting in 8th. I think he said he's currently running in 7th in that blue liveried one right behind the last of the Abbotts. So keep your eye on that car as this race develops.
And just behind them is the 20 car of Jim Filipkowski from Bangor, Pennsylvania, in the Philadelphia region, as our leaders come onto the front straightaway for the first time at speed. And it is still a Whitson benefit at the front. Andrew showing the way to brother Zachary. And then the first of the Abbotts, Brandon Abbott out in front of Andrew with the 15 car of Brian Farnham sandwiched in between.
Kind of playing nicely in behavior. A lot of allies going on here. For Scaler, his ally is probably his father further back in the field, so I think it's going to help him right now. He's kind of on his own, but as we had seen last year, he had tremendous pace late in the race at Road America, coming from pretty far back to get up into the mix, going into Canada corner there. Here, he's going to try and stay in the mix of this front 7 as long as he can.
As we mentioned, Andrew Whitson, the 2019 champion of this class.
And that was a tremendous race in 19 between the two Whitsons, sandwiched around, I believe it was Hunter Phelps Barron, multiple laps, lead changes all around. It was just a beautiful thing to watch as we got a car off at 6A.
Yeah, and went behind the barrier from our vantage point. I'm not sure who that was, but we had a car off wide. We've seen a couple cars go off there as we got a replay coming that'll give us a little insight into who that might have been. Oh, we've got a car smoking, and I think that's what happens. Yeah, that's the 4 car as it's coming out of 6A, showing a lot of smoke. Gavin Sweeney out of Brooklyn, New York.
Started this race in 10th, and unfortunately there, it didn't look like he's going to go much further.
Yeah, back to live action with Andrew Whitson continuing to show the way as he's opened up a little bit of a lead over his brother Zachary.
So we get to the draft in the front straight, and that lead will be gone quickly.
Exactly right. As the Abbotts sandwiching the 15 car Brian Farnham, and we're getting word that we are going to go full course yellow. As you can see these drivers raising their hand, indicating to the cars following that they're slowing down, getting out of the throttle.
And that's really helpful for these drivers because obviously, often they're focusing on who's right in front of us. We got some cars still at the back now finally seeing that yellow. But that's one of the issues. If you can't see the flagger stand, you know, you don't really know that the yellow's coming out. If you see the guy in front of you putting his hand up, it makes you go, wait a second, there's something happening here. I better take note.
Exactly right. As the field now working its way across the line, let's do a quick rundown. Andrew Whitson, your leader, over Zachary Whitson in the 27, the 25 of Andrew Abbott in front of Brian Farnham, who right now holds the fast lap of the race in the 15 car. Brandon Abbott just behind in 5th. Alex Scaler in that blue number 79 in the 6th spot. Jeff Filipkowski in the 20 in 7th. Chris Jenner-John in the 46 is 8th. Stephen Davis in the 80 is 9th. And Roger Siebenaller in the 72 is 10th. Jenner-John, Davis, and Siebenaller, all veterans in the class, all former winners, as they are all running together, 9th, 10th, and 11th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
This little stop here is going to help our defending champ, Chris Jenner-John. And so he had been there was a bit of a gap there between Scaler and Filipkowski for 6th and 7th. Jenner-John sitting here in 8th. Now is able to kind of get up into that mix. So keep your eye on Jenner-John as we go through that restart next time by.
The Hawk breakthrough performer for this race is Alexander Bertolucci out of Mount Prospect, Illinois, in the 81 car. He picked up 13 places between Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's a bunch.
It's getting with the program, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, Larry, tell me about these cars. How do you make one go faster than the other?
Well, it's all about the slipstream, as a lot of times what you're trying to do. And that was the comment that Hayward made about the cars and why the front row, why the Whitsons are still on drums, is because the drum brakes have inherently less drag.
Yep.
And so they're trying to make sure they maximize that straightaway. So while they don't have the advantage of maybe the disc brakes and more consistency and heat management, they do have less drag in them, as the disc brakes often the pads will float a little bit and cause some drag. They're playing the game of, I'm going to stay away from that and stick with the drums, which, and really the only reason they're allowing the disc brakes in here anyway is about, as Hayward had kind of also alluded to, the scarcity of parts when you're talking about 1950s Volkswagens. So allowing the discs is a good thing, but as you can see, parity still is great between the two types, and that's one of the things. You got to be good at the slipstream. The motors are always tuned just right. These guys carry spare motors too, so they feel something on Wednesday, Thursday. They can get it fresh when they go for the weekend.
Yeah, exactly right. Reliability is actually pretty good. The motors last pretty well. You don't see hand grenaded motors in this class very often, so clearly they're running well within their specifications. But every little bit of fine tuning to extract the maximum from those tiny little 4-cylinders is important.
It really is, and the drivers can feel them starting to sag. They can feel them go down. That's why you don't see the blown motors, because they can sense it. They can take care of it. It also means that through the course of a long race like this, the weather isn't too bad. But if it were a hotter day, temperature management of those motors is critical.
We thought we were going to get a green flag, but it looks like the cleanup is not quite completed. So we're going to go one more lap behind the safety car, as Andrew Whitson brings the field around. Zachary right behind him.
More opportunity for those tires to cool a little bit. More work to have to bring them back up to temp, but we do finally go green.
We mentioned Chris Jenner-John, one of those drivers in that little logjam right outside the top 10. He's a native out of the Indianapolis region in the 46 car. He won at Road America a year ago, so he is the defending winner of this class. It was a pretty good race last year as well. It always is at Road America. That climb up the hill makes for some fantastic finishes.
Yeah, for the folks that didn't see that race, you can go back and you can always watch the archive videos on SCCA.com. But let me just tell you, the top 4 were separated by 0.7 of a second. It just shows you how close it was. And in fact, the front 7 were all about 1.5 seconds apart coming into Canada Corner. It was a complete crapshoot of who was going to actually come out in front. Chris Jenner-John got the advantage out of there and was able to make that run up the hill, just holding off Andrew Whitson last year. Unbelievable race, as it always is with these. I love watching these races.
Don't be surprised if we have a 4-wide finish coming to the yard of bricks here in a few more laps as well. We mentioned Stephen Davis in the 80, the veteran campaigner, a 2-time champion, most recently in 1992 in his Vortec Formula V. But Stephen Davis with a long career, 33 starts, 4 fast laps, as well as the most recent win in 92.
It's just the staying power. It's the staying power of Formula V. As we talk about, that's one of the reasons these families stick around, because when you invest in it, you can stay as a family, both with your competitors as well as your actual blood relatives, and people like him are staying in the class for 30-plus years.
Roger Siebenaller in the 72 car, a 3-time champion, most recently in 2011. So those are the kind of veterans that you see in this field, and they just keep coming back. There's the 80 car of Stephen Davis, running in 9th right now. Just in front of him is Chris Jenner-John in the white 46, and Roger Siebenaller right behind him in that white 72. As we are coming to green this time by, as the field working its way out of the S's into turn number 12.
Stephen Aller last year did not go to Road America, but his car was there in the hands of Alex Scaler. This year, Mr. Stephen Aller said to Alex, sorry, you need to go find your own car. I'm getting mine back, and that's where you're now seeing both of them in the field.
Beginning to get some speed into these cars as Andrew Whitson and Zachary Whitson bringing the field around. Andrew looked like he was going to try to go there at about turn 13, but I think he has to wait until turn 14 before he can begin to accelerate. Keep an eye on the flag stand. They have to stay single file until that green flag flies, and then they can pop out. And there they go. You can see the moment the green flag is thrown, and we are 4 wide, 5 wide coming down the front straightaway. And it looks like one of the Abbotts is getting past. I think that's the 20 car of Jeff Filipkowski on the inside, as the Whitson's still 2 wide coming down into turn 1, and I think we're going to have a change. It looks like Zachary is going to sweep into the lead, putting his brother back into second spot.
Watching the 25, I think it's Andrew Abbott there, came down the outside into 1 to jump right back in front of Farnham again. He does hold on to that 3rd spot for the time being.
Yeah, Farnham in the orange car in that number 15, but he is right on the back of the 25 of Andrew Abbott. And then just a little bit of a gap back to Filipkowski and Chris Jennerjohn in the 46.
And they're side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. Still side by side. Abbott and Farnham are side by side as well, with the 2 Whitsons still running single file up in front. Farnham goes just a little bit wide in the exit of 10, or excuse me, the exit of 6A onto the Holman Straight. And they are line astern at the moment.
Going to go 3 wide in the back there as well, I think.
Yep.
Or even at the front.
Yep. Farnham immediately pops out. Andrew Abbott pops out to defend, and they drop right back into single file. Brandon Abbott right there behind. And the 5th spot. As we've got about a 5 or 6 car breakaway here. Right at the tail end of that group is the 79 of Alex Scaler. As the Abbotts go side by side once, or the Whitsons, excuse me, go side by side. I get my brothers confused.
There's an Abbott now in between them, it looks.
It looks like you're absolutely right. And Brian Farnham's trying to stuff it up in there as well. He's going to have to stay in 4th, it looks like. But we have a new 2nd place runner, a new family spoken from in the top 3, as the 25 car of Andrew Abbott comes up into 2nd spot. As they come to the line to complete race lap number 6.
Andrew last year was a part of that finishing pack of 4. Andrew finished on the podium in the 3rd spot, just sandwiched between Whitson and Hunter Phelps Barron in that fantastic finish. And here we are again. He's right in that mix. Looks like he's even pushing Whitson along a little bit down the front straightaway. They do bump a little bit in these classes.
Side by side, Stephen Davis, one of the drivers involved in that, as is the 20 car of Jeff Filipkowski.
Filipkowski using all the curb, the tallest curb we have here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He used all of it going into 1 on that trip.
Alex Scaler there in front in that Robin's Egg Blue, number 72. That's just a little bit of a breakaway behind the 20 car of Jeff Filipkowski. Jonathan Weisheidt, Stephen Davis, and Chris Jennerjohn.
Weisheidt started this race back in 18th. Got himself up into the top 10 right now.
Absolutely. That's a good candidate for the Sunoco Hard Charger Award. But lots of racing left to go as we're working race lap number 7. Still some side-by-side racing a little deeper just behind the 20 car.
One of those back
Jeff
there.
Filipkowski.
Yeah, one of those is Siebenauer back there a little further.
Siebenauer in the white car. That's the 7 of Jonathan Weisheidt. We talked about him just a moment ago. And the 69 of Dean Curtis. And Siebenauer right there behind him in the 72. As they work their way up onto the banking and coming down into turn 12. One of the prime passing opportunities. We've seen a lot of action at this corner throughout the weekend.
A little bit of a gap there at the front for our leader, Andrew Whitson. Just a bit.
Yeah.
Don't often see that here. And then behind, it's Abbott Whitson. So it's Andrew Abbott and Zach Whitson. Try to keep this all straight. We got 2 Andrews up front, 2 Whitsons in the top 3.
Zach pulls out and just makes a nice move up into 2nd spot. So he's going to try to draft up to his brother Farnham down the inside once again. And he stays in that 4 spot. And the other Abbott, the 26 of Brandon, slots in right behind him. And Alex Scaler just sets fast lap of the race, a 1:57.2 for Scaler. The pole time was a 57.4, so he's already quicker than the pole time.
There's Brandon Abbott and Scaler going side by side. Brandon able to hold the position now.
Zachary Whitson holding off the challenge from behind with Brandon Abbott and Brian Farner as they come off 6A and onto the Holman Straight. Meanwhile, Andrew Whitson enjoying at the line. It was about just over a 1 second lead. And if anything, it looks like that's going bigger. And we've got a car in the gravel. That's the 6 of Mark Fosbury out of Groton, Massachusetts in the New England region. It looks to be the outside of turn 6, if I'm not mistaken. And we are going to have to go full course yellow because that car is buried.
It's pretty deep right there. The chassis all the way down onto the sand. Those skinny little tires are not able to do much.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't travel very well in gravel. So the double yellow flag's out to slow the field down so that the safety vehicles could get there and extract the number 6 of Mark Fosbury. So for the second time, the field will pack up behind our leader. Andrew Whitson has led every lap so far.
So Andrew was starting to build a little bit of lead right before this double yellow came out, and it was his brother helping him a little bit as Zach was sort of holding the field behind, had Andrew Abbott in his tail and trying to maybe create a little bit of space for his brother, trying to make sure that if any pass going to happen from the Abbott, he was going to make sure he had to work really hard for it, but all of that is for naught as we're going to go full course caution.
Well, we've got a moment here under this full course yellow. Let's take a second to thank our sponsors to make the racing possible here as we'll take a break and talk to our friends from Mazda.
Why race? Because it's in our blood. A love of driving that pushes us as hard on the road as it does on the track. It's why we reinvented the Roadster and put a piece of it into every car we make. It's why we refine, rethink, and refine again. And it's why we'll always engineer to your heart's BPM, not simply an engine's RPM. Why race? Why indeed?
When the finish line calls, we answer. Hit the road with insurance protection from Hagerty. Whether you drive a built racer, sports car, or exotic, and save an average of $264. Get a quote today at Hagerty.com.
Welcome to that magic realm. Between here and there, a no man's land, and everyone's land, where great expectations grow, and rewards are given to the swift, the perceptive, and the daring. Introducing the Mazda CX-30 Turbo with all-wheel drive. More power for your pursuit.
Welcome back to the 58th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As we understand, we're going to go green next time by, as we had a car stuck in the gravel. Mark Fosbury has been extracted from the gravel trap. You can see the safety vehicle in the right at the top of your screen getting back to its staging position. And the plan is to go green this time by. We're working race lap 9 of the scheduled 19. Still plenty of time left as we've got 22 minutes remaining. So barring another yellow, we should be able to get all 19 of the laps in. So we're coming up on half distance here. A lap and a half.
It's that opportunity again for a lot of these guys where those gaps started to develop. Now the accordion closes again, and you can start to maybe reset. It does two things. It gives you, if you're the one at the front of that break, or I guess the right behind the breakaway, to say, hey, great, I get to catch up to everybody. But the same thought is going into the heads of the 4 or 5 guys behind you saying, great, we just caught up to the top 6. Let's try and make this closer. You know, for the Whitsons out front, I've seen a lot of these team taxes. We know from 2019 these guys are on radios together. I suspect we've got a lot of that happening. The Abbotts are probably doing the same thing. And so they're talking to each other about strategies going down the straightaway, who's going to take inside versus outside, what kind of moves they're making.
Exactly right. Andrew with a little bit of a lead over his brother right now, but I'm sure they'll pack it up as he'll slow down coming into turn number 14, or not. Not quite sure.
It's a V?
Yeah, it's a V.
And can you tell him he's slowing down?
Yeah. Come on, Larry.
It's great racing. It's not fast straightaway speeds. It makes great racing.
Absolutely right. This is a perfect indication. The green flag flies, and they explode out to about 4 wide And I believe that's the 72 of Siebenthaler making a bold run right alongside the pit wall. As they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide coming down the front straightaway.
And we've got a coordinated change at the front as Zach Whitson now able to get the draft around brother to take the lead into 1. But right behind him is Farnham.
And I think he's going to take over third spot or not.
Oh, we got contact then going through 1 in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, 2 or 3 cars, one taking evasive action.
There's the 72 of Siebenthaler.
Siebenthaler's one of them. The car there sitting counter race, going to have to wait for the rest of the field to come by. At the moment, we're staying green. And the 69 car up into the hunt now as Dean Curtis makes his presence felt. As we can see him right there behind the 26 of Brandon.
Dinner done right there, I think in the middle of that. And number 46, that white car.
So Jenner John did make a bold move and got all the way up into 4th spot. As we got a replay coming of the spin there at turn number 1. We can see the cars all bunched up, and they try to funnel down together, and that's where they clip. And
it's the red and white car there in the kind of stationary now at the exit there of 1. It might have been the one that locked up a little bit going in and caught a little bit of victims going through, unfortunately.
That might have been Rick Shields in the 77. I'm not sure, but we'll check it when they come back by.
Cars are relatively durable.
Yeah,
for what they are. I mean, these cars, you don't keep a class going for 50-some years and deal with attrition without some level of durability built into the chassis.
Yeah, Colin Chapman would not have designed these cars the way they are. They're very sturdy, and like I said, the running gear is basically from a Volkswagen Beetle. And that's what makes the class so popular and so economical and with such longevity.
And we're green. Oh,
the 20. Yeah. Brandon Abbott off and on, and that's going to cost him because that opens the momentum for Alex Scaler to get a run in the 79 car, and he's already alongside. And Curtis right there behind him.
Abbott, that little mistake there just cost him 2 positions quickly. And here you got at the front, the Whitsons again coordinating this. They're doing the coordinated leapfrogging because they can be faster down there together. But look at, I believe that's Andrew Abbott now making the move on
Farnham, yeah, to move back up into 3rd position. So Whitson now Abbott with Farnham in the 4th spot. Jenner John just hanging in there in the 72 car back in 5th position. As they work their way through turn 4, turn 5, and down into the corner that Tomo calls the skid pad. It's just basically a long left-hander. Turn 6A, which shuts them right back onto the Holman Straight, and that's been a scene of a lot of activity here at the Runoffs. That's been a very tricky turn. Dropping a wheel off into that dirt on the outside could be a problem. Another choreographed change of position between the Whitsons.
Trying to take those opportunities that if one gets a better run, you let him go.
Yep. And I would think also there might be a cooling advantage there as well. Keeping those drum brakes cool at the front as well as getting cold air into the engine inlet.
Get out in that fresh air a little bit.
Yep, exactly right.
But Andrew Abbott doesn't want to have anything to do with that. He would love to get right in between those guys. That's where he's maybe looking to try and set up Zach Whitson next time opportunity comes. Don't know if he's going to be able to do it here at 12, but don't be surprised if he's taking a look to get a great run off of 13. But, of course, you've got Farnham right behind him and a little lockup from him going into 12.
And I wonder if there are any team orders in the Whitson camp, because Andrew is eligible for a super sweep if he's able to win this one.
I think that's the last thing on Zach's mind, probably the last thing on Andrew's mind, but maybe Ron down the order is thinking, go boys, go.
Exactly right. Single file are the top 4, and they've broken away just a tad from Chris Jenner-John as they come across the line. Here goes another move at the front as the Whitson swap positions.
But look at the closing of the gap right here. Look at Farnham now on the inside, going to try and go from 4 to 1.
3 wide coming down into turn 1. And we've got an Abbott at the front for the first time as Andrew Abbott takes over the point. Zach Whitson just behind him, then Farnham, then Andrew Whitson, who has led much of this race from the pole.
Trying to make a coordinated flip with just his brother, and turns out he gave up 3 positions, and now he finds himself at the back of this train. But that's how these races go. These guys race together all the time. It's not the first time they've seen each other, so they kind of know, hey, you know what, the run's happening, the moves is going. I've got 8 more laps. I'm not going to do anything crazy.
Alex Scaler closing quickly to make it a 6-car train at the front.
He's the wild card of this bunch because he's not family. He's not really from those guys' regions either. As a lot of these guys, like the Whitsons, they're from Milwaukee. The Abbotts are from the Detroit area. You know, maybe Scaler runs. Might see Farnham, I don't know, but you can see Scaler there, not worried about any kind of orders, coordination. He definitely wants to get right as he takes that spot away from Whitson.
Up into 4th place is the new 79 of Alex Scaler. Asbury, New Jersey. A lot of New Jersey drivers in this field. New England was what I was trying to say. Yes, Alex Scaler out of Asbury, New Jersey. Up into 4th spot. Farnham looking racy as he dives inside of Zach Whitson in the approach to turn 12 and gets it done. Farnham up into 2nd spot. That's as high as he's run all day. And here comes Scaler. He wants a little piece of that action as well.
He's by far the aggressor, but a little bit of wide run out in front from Andrew Abbott. Scaler, though, trying to get the good run here. He's going to have to hold off the other Whitson. So both Whitsons are sitting here at 4th and 5th, and Scaler now becomes the tow vehicle in this train.
Zachary at the front of the Whitson train. Now he pops out. There goes Farnham popping out. 3 wide once again. Farnham to the lead for the moment.
Let's make it 4 wide, guys.
Yeah, but it's not over yet. Farnham appears to have the advantage, but swinging around the outside is the 12 car.
Big lockup there from Scaler, able to tuck it in and make turn 1 for a moment there. I thought it was going to be tears for everyone, but nope, he's able to hang on to it and make another run as Abbott goes, or right up there. Whitson, excuse me, is Andrew Whitson now takes over the lead.
Yeah, Andrew Whitson, the one who got shuffled back to 4th the last time through turn 1, repays the favor and goes right back to the front this time through turn 1.
And the chess match continues.
Exactly right. Just what we love about Formula V racing. You can never count it out.
But his brother's 4 spots behind.
Yeah, so he doesn't have that drafting partner that he had for the early stages of this race, as we're well into the second half, working race lap 13 of the 19.
It's a pretty big breakaway now, about the top 7.
Yep. So the 12 car of Andrew Whitson, he takes the top spot. Oh! As Abbott ducked to the inside in the 25. Andrew Abbott thought about making a move, but fell back in single file. Don't be alarmed if you see the occasional little puff of smoke from the back of these cars. That is not at all uncommon. If you've ever owned an air-cooled engine, Porsche or Volkswagen, you know that
they're not really air-cooled, are they?
Yeah,
they're more oil-cooled.
Exactly right. Yeah, I was surprised. I had an old 911 100 years ago, and first time I changed the oil, I thought, wait a minute, you need a case of oil to change the oil. We've got a huge dry sump, and the oil is a very significant part of the cooling. A little bit of smoke out of the back of the car of Alex Scaler, but not to worry.
7 times around to go. And now the chess match is fully underway. Everyone's collecting data on everyone around them. Obviously, the Whitsons know each other, the Abbotts know each other, but as you watch this race unfold, you got to start to figure, when does somebody traditionally make a move? And for Scaler, he's making a move every time he sees daylight. And with the other guys, it's a little bit more coordinated and a little bit more planned. For Scaler here, even able to get in without any brake lockup, but does give up the spot right back to Andrew Abbott.
He's not giving up the ghost as he stays right with it. Andrew Abbott with the position right at the moment. Andrew Whitson out in front. Brian Farnham in second.
Farnham very patient up there right now. Probably thinking if we can just get a couple second gap of what's behind us, we can make this a 2-horse race.
Basically a 7-car breakaway. Chris Jennerjohn at the tail end of that group. Brandon Abbott in the 6th spot. Zachary Whitson in the 27 just in front.
Jennerjohn maybe not quite tagging on as closely as he'd like to be. He's kind of got the little brother, hey guys, wait for me thing going on right now. The Abbotts there out in front of him, and now Scaler's going to try to take a look down the inside. Andrew Abbott.
He wants that 3rd place back, and he gets it at turn 7, if he can hang on to it at the exit. And he does so. Into the S's they come, turns 8, 9, and 10. And Scaler once again atop this battle for 3rd, as he is, at the moment at least, on the box with about 5 laps to go.
Andrew Whitson and Brian Farnham out in front are not pushing any kind of side-by-sides. You watch Farnham, I think, is just trying to stay patient and stay in line. He'll only make a move if it's a guaranteed move. Otherwise, I think he's hoping that behind him, Scaler sort of becomes the wild card. He keeps mixing it up with Andrew Abbott and with Zach Whitson to try and slow that pack down.
And this pack of cars with Alex Scaler at the front, they need to line up line of stern and try to run these guys down, or they're going to get away. Because the draft is so, so important. But the more they squabble with one another, the more they're going to get slowed down. As the 25 of Andrew Abbott goes with Zachary Whitson side by side. Not paying attention to anything I'm saying, but of course they're not listening to me, so that's just as good.
That's
big brake lock up, and there's contact.
That's Zach Whitson on the back of Scaler. You can see Whitson struggling to get on the brakes there alongside of, I believe that was Andrew Abbott that he was with. They're going to take that little short shoot down that dumps out, but that might be the end for Zach Whitson.
Yeah, I don't know if there is suspension damage. We're going to get a replay of it.
Look at him going side by side, under braking. He thinks he's got it, but that's a tremendous speed he's carrying. Just unable to get it slowed down, spins Scaler around. Scaler's able to continue. But neither one of those now up in the fight.
Yeah, Zach Whitson pulls off, so he must have some damage, making it unable for him to continue, but he does a great job of pulling off well out of harm's way so we can stay green.
Well, there's your two-horse fight right now. Those two horses, Andrew Whitson and Brian Farnham. Now a little bit of daylight back to the Abbotts behind them, and I think that's Chris Jennerjohn then trailing behind the two Abbotts.
Brian Farnham and Mark Farnham, both in this field, both out of the Ohio region, centered up around the Cleveland area. The Whitsons from the Milwaukee region, of course, at their home track last year.
And actually 4 Whitsons in this field. We've talked obviously about Zach and Andrew Whitson, father Ron, but they have another brother, Steve Whitson, also in this race. You got 4 of them. What a move going on there by Farnham down the inside. I think he might have just taken the lead.
He did indeed. Into turn 12, Brian Farnham takes over the point for the first time.
And he's a good run off of 13 as well.
Yep. Down into 14, hugging the pit wall, and they're going to take it right out to the edge. So let's see if Andrew Whitson can retake the lead that he's held for much of this race. In the early stages, swapping it back and forth with his brother Zach as we go a little deeper in the field. Here's the 74 car of Stuart Delaney. And he's got company. Stuart back in 26th spot. Chris Caruso, William Stasinski, all part of that battle. John Adams with it as well.
Marjorie Lundberg, I think, also in there in that 24.
Yep. Of course, Sunoco, the official fuel of the Sports Car Club of America in our road racing program. And of course, the Sunoco Hard Charger, as we've got a spin, the Hard Charger goes to the driver who makes up the most positions from his qualifying position to race finishing position. And that's the 0 of Rick Ruckman out of Summersville, West Virginia. Spinning right there at 13, but he's able to continue. I think he's fallen off the back. We'll get a replay of Ruckman's spin, see if he got any help. Nope, all on his own. Just carried a little too much speed through 13, and the rear end stepped out.
Somebody threw a couple of walnut shells out of the back of a Mario Kart and caused his spin.
Exactly right. As we see the 6th car of Mark Fosbury, who brought out the yellow flag with a trip into the gravel trap. I believe he's a lap down to the field, but still out there circulating. As we're working race lap 16 now. As the racing goes on all around the track. Even though they're well out of contention for a win, these drivers are still going after it.
That right there, that is your fight for the lead. Sorry, that is still the number 6. There's the fight for the lead.
There you go.
Andrew Whitson has gotten back around Farnham with 4 laps to go.
Whitson up in front and stretching his advantage right now, so I don't know if Brian Farnham's got anything for our leader at this stage.
He's trying to stay in that draft. I think the Abbotts are the ones saying, oh man, we're just out of that draft. The Abbotts might be fighting for 3rd because right now Farnham is going to make a push and stick to the back of Andrew Whitson. That race is not over yet for 1 and 2.
He's good on the brakes, is Farnham. He was able to close right up on him in the braking zone. Dean Curtis in that 69 car has got Rick Shields right in front of him. Rick Shields, a veteran campaigner and former winner of this race in the 77 car.
Alex Scaler's trying to chase those guys down as well. But Farnham here, if he's saved anything in those tires, he's going to need it here in his last couple laps.
Working race lap number 17 of 19. as they're about halfway around, coming off of turn 6A onto the Holman straightaway. Andrew Whitson looking perhaps for the super sweep, and 2 wins in 3 years after taking the win in an exciting race at VIR 2 years ago. Wrapping it up here at Indianapolis, perhaps with another one.
So 4 years ago, one of the legends of Formula V took a commanding win out here, Michael Veresens. In that race here at Indy in 2017, your second place finisher was some kid named Andrew Whitson, and third on the podium was another guy, Brian Farnham. So here they are battling again, this time for the top spot here at Indy again 4 years later.
Kurt Bennett in the 36 has pulled off. I believe that's on the Holman straight.
Also going back, it was Andrew Abbott that finished 4th in that race 4 years ago, now running 3rd here.
They're covering that with a local yellow as his car is pretty much in a safe place. There's the battle at the front. It's a 2-horse race right now.
So this is the chess match. Farnham's got plenty of gap behind him, doesn't have to worry about making moves that don't work. He can try a lot of things. This is the place to test. You got 3 more trips down his front straight. Test the braking, test your positioning, and test what are the reactions of Whitson going to do when you go left. Does he go right or does he block?
And here we've got a situation where we've got the difference between the drum brakes and the disc brakes, perhaps. Farnham running disc brakes on his car. Whitson is, we said, at the top of the order with the older drum brakes, but a little less drag. But when you really need them, are the disc brakes better? That's a good question.
Farnham just kind of watching, biding his time as they go through the skid pad of 6. I suspect as we get to the next lap, you might see him try to make moves. See what sticks. Perhaps try to take the lead and maybe play a little chess with Andrew to maybe give the lead back and get it back again on the last lap. So this will be interesting to see how long does he decide to wait.
We saw a slower car coming just out of the picture as we went to this shot. So there's a good possibility that traffic could be a factor for these drivers before we get to the end. As they're going to be completing the penultimate lap here. Lap 18. Andrew Whitson.
Whoa, little bobble.
Yeah, he's driving it hard, man. That car got sideways on him. He had to catch it.
He caught a lot of curb there at 10, and that just gave up some momentum. Interestingly, as Farnham sort of backed out and waited. I think Farnham really is playing the chess match. He had an opportunity to jump around and said, wait a second, I can't do this. It's too early. We got 2 whole laps around this place to go.
Yep.
And that's interesting, sort of playing that game of when do I go? It's not how. It's at this point, he already probably knows his move. It's a matter of when.
Yeah. He's been sizing up Andrew Whitson the entire race, trying to decide where he's stronger and where he can make his move. And so he's probably got it all worked out in his mind, and Andrew is trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Where can he get just enough advantage so that he can lead him across the line?
Well, let's just see if Brian just sticks right in line. It looks like he might. Let's see if he pops out at the end or if he sells. No, we're going to do this the next time through.
White flag next time by. As they come down into turn 1. It's a 2-horse race. Whitson and Farnham, with Andrew Abbott and Brandon Abbott running 3rd and 4th. And back to Chris Jennerjohn and Alex Scaler, 5th and 6th. Rick Shields up to 7th. Stephen Davis, Dean Curtis, and Jeff Lawhead, your top 10. This was about a lap and a half away from the checkers.
So Farnham's strategy here, and you can see it there, clearly he had an opportunity to pass, decided not to. The only risk to that is in a big field like this, late in the race, if somebody spins and you start getting yellows, whether it's a local at 1 or the way you have to go full course, you've missed your opportunity, and sometimes you have to take that opportunity when it presents itself. So for him, he's gambling. He's gambling that he's going to get a great run off of the last corner on the last lap, or maybe he's gambling he can do it on this straightaway next time through. Right now, I don't think he gambled on having a lap traffic in front of him.
The lapper doing exactly what he should, holding his line and allowing the overtaking drivers to make the move. The worst thing you can do when you're being passed is to try to guess where the overtaking drivers want you to go.
A little more conservative to this time there for Andrew Whitson.
Yep. Kept it from going sideways quite as much. Didn't take as much curb for sure.
He got a great run off of that compared to Farnham right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
More lap traffic, just trying to stay out of the way of this fantastic finish that's got just a little over 2.5 miles left.
2.6 miles around this road course. They work their way through turn 13, heading toward 14 and on to the straightaway. And they should see the white flag this time by. Andrew Whitson maybe saving the best till last. Got a little bit of an advantage there.
That run off a 10, like I said, he looked super clean, and it was so good. I don't think Farnham's going to be close enough to make a move going into 1. Farnham's only chance now is either going to be get alongside him coming out of 6 if he can make up some ground through sector 1, or it's going to have to be some kind of a move probably going into 12. But right now, Andrew Whitson is putting in qualifying lap speed right here on the second to last lap of this race.
But Farnham is really good on the brakes. He made up a whole bunch of ground there into turn number 1. So let's follow this battle for the lead as Brian Farnham trying to find that extra couple of car lengths to get into contention for a run to the checkered flag. As they come out of turn number 4 and 5, and down into the long turn number 6.
This is pretty much a race for Farnham. He's got to close up here to have any kind of chance. This is his best drafting opportunity to close the gap. He's not close enough to make the move yet going into 7. He's got to get close enough to just maybe grab an extra car length or 2 and hope through the S's as they get to 10 next time. He could be on his tail and have a shot to go side by side at 12. Otherwise, Andrew Whitson might be looking at that checker flag first.
And they've got traffic in front of him once again. I believe I saw the 0 of Rick Ruckman not far in front. And at the moment, Andrew Whitson from the pole.
A lot of curve there this time for Farnham, trying to get that run. Last time by, he did have a bit of a bobble, had the car slide, lost his momentum. This time he's trying to do it better, but I tell you who did do it better was Whitson. As good as he was on lap 18, he did it just as well, maybe better here on 19, holding off this charge for Farnham. And for Whitson, one more corner to go, and then he'll see a checker flag waiting for him.
Mapper getting out of the way, letting this battle for the lead come through. Farnham got a good run through 13. He's closing. The car's pretty good in a straight line. Can he get there? A photo finish is not unusual in Formula V, but Andrew Whitson, I think, is going to have the measure as they come to the yard of bricks in about a half a car length. As Farnham waited until the last instant to pop out, but he was not able to quite get there. A great race between these two. And Andrew Whitson notching the first super sweep of this Runoffs.
What a great run there on that last lap. Didn't think Farnham was going to get there, but he got a pretty good run despite the lap traffic there to make it in a race. Just got alongside, and unfortunately not long enough away to get to those bricks for him to take it away from Whitson, and for Whitson now his second championship. What a great drive.
Absolutely. Farnham put his fastest lap in on that final lap, so he gave it his all, but at the line it was just about a tenth of a second separating those two. Now here comes the battle to the line between Alex Scaler and Rick Shields as they come to the line. Scaler holding on for 6th spot, Shields in 7th, Stephen Davis in the 8th spot. Dean Curtis comes home 9th, Ron Whitson comes home in 10th spot. Ron also would be a contender for the Sunoco Hard Charger Award. As this battle a little deeper in the field, the 29 car in front, Jeffrey Vallejo from Brooklyn, New York in the New England region, gets a good run on to the final turn. Vallejo with Guy Bellingham right behind him as they come across the line. This field well spread out as we had a long green flag run at the end of this one. But there's your winner, ladies and gentlemen, the number 12 of Andrew Whitson from the pole. Fell back to, I think, as low as 4th at one point.
May have even been 5th, yeah. He lost a lot of ground and was able to make it up.
Able to get back in front, and with some good racecraft, was able to get that car back to the front and take nothing away from Brian Farnham, who started down the order just a bit. Farnham was 6th in the qualifying order and made a race of it at the very end.
These guys going by, giving the big thumbs up to our champion, Andrew Whitson. Big accomplishment to win in V anytime. It's a huge accomplishment to win twice out of 3 years.
Andrew, this is his 10th runoff, so he has had no shortage of experience, and just about all of it in Formula V. But like I said, broke through for his first win at VIR, and now he's got win number 2 to go along with 3 second-place finishes.
Yeah, one of those is last year, so he's either been first or second now, a couple years running. The kid's a force to be reckoned with here in Formula V.
Yeah, and take nothing away from Brian Farnham. A great drive for him as well into second. And third place to Andrew Abbott with brother Brandon right behind in 4th. Chris Jenner-John, the defending champion, comes home in 5th spot. as they work their way down the pit lane. Hayward Wagner is down there to have a chat with our top 3 finishers.
I'm curious to hear what he thinks of that whole strategy of, how do you come back when you've been shuffled back? Do you worry? Do you panic? Do you just stay calm and ice in your veins? Because that's what it looked like. He looked completely calm, like it was all part of the plan.
Yeah, exactly right. As this big field of cars still working around on their cool down lap. Jeff Lawhead just outside the top 10, comes home in 11th spot. Jonathan Weisheidt in 12th. Roger Siebenaller, the veteran, made up 3 spots on the last lap to come home 13th. Brian Stasinski in 14th spot, and Donnie Isley rounding out the top 15. There's our winner, finally rolling into position as he took his time on the cool down lap.
He's shaking a little bit, trying to get those gloves off. Take a little longer than it would be at some regional. Fumbling for the straps on the helmet as well. I see a lot of that here at the Runoffs. You win that gold medal, whether it's your first or your 16th or your second, it still gets your nerves going.
There's the medal, the gold medal going on Andrew Whitson. It sounds like Hayward Wagner is right there for the interview. Hayward?
Andrew, how does it feel to win at Indy?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Man, all the hard work that's gone into this year is finally over, and it feels so good to come out on top. We did 11 races this year and won every single one of them, and there's so much pressure coming in today. But yeah, just unbelievable.
You guys are the only ones on the grid to roll in with drum brakes, correct?
No, there's quite a few others. Yeah. But yeah, just so thankful for everybody that's put work into this team this year. Dad and Mom, just unbelievable. The car is so fast, handles so well. I don't think I've had a mechanical DNF since 2013. This car's always perfect. So much thanks to my dad. The rest of the team, Zach and Steve, pitching in all the time. We're all working together to make all of us faster. Bob Polda, Ron Polda. I got to thank Tracy. I don't think I'd be here without her being with me this year. It's just been so awesome. Sister coming out, Dan coming out, Dijon. I'm probably missing like 10 others. Got to thank Carbotech, Hoosier, Summit for supporting our racing, and Tyrek.
Well, a lot of gratitude, a lot of appreciation, and a gold medal. Enjoy the victory lap.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hayward. Once again, on his way to our first super sweep of this 2021 Runoffs, a perfect 150 Super Tour points. As he mentioned, undefeated this season in that car, and closed out the season just the way you want to with the Runoffs.
Huge accomplishment. And as he said, it was an accomplishment to win all 11 races, but the pressure he had on himself to say, I've got to keep doing this, because if you win the first 10, you don't win the 11th, it really kind of doesn't mean anything.
Hayward's got our second and third place finishers.
Brian, it looked to me that entire race came down to every lap in turn 10. You guys are both sliding around there. One lap he'd get off better, one lap he'd get better. What was going on with that corner for you guys?
It was just, they must have had oil down because it started to get loose. That or our rear tires are going. I had just a little bit too much of a slide there, couldn't get to him. If I would have had one more lap, we might have had a shot at it, but it was a great race. Andrew was driving a hell of a race, so he was really moving. It's hard to keep up with him.
Well, congratulations to you on the silver. Any quick thank yous?
Yeah, thank you to Derm Ennis with Duck and Monkey, Dietmar with Coyote Racing, Mike at Carbotech, Alan Adderley for building this car, Gary Blenerick for all his help, Dave Harris, Gary Grubb, so many other people too. I just like Ray Carmody. So many people have come together and helped me with this, which is great, and so I'm really thrilled to be here.
Well, you look pretty happy with the silver. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And while we've got you, we're going to grab Andrew Abbott real quick. Andrew, it might have gotten a little dull for you there in the middle.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic. The race was crazy. Andy drove a great race and made one little bobble, and then kind of got split the draft and couldn't keep up. But, I mean, I got to thank everyone that helps, my entire family, my parents, my brother, everyone on the car, LDC Equipment, Carbotech, Hoosier Tire, Collision Works, Algeier Shocks, everyone that's helped us even in the slightest bit. Like, we would not be here without it. SCCA for, again, putting on a great event. You guys for doing this. Just everyone that's tuned in. Like, awesome, man. I hope you guys keep watching. This is this is it for us, and this is cool. This is awesome.
Well, there's not a happier podium in racing than the Formula V podium at the Runoffs. Congratulations.
Yeah, we get to go stand on that freaking Indianapolis podium, man. This is sweet. Thanks.
He has just summed up what the Runoffs is all about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. These drivers, this is the biggest victory of their career for most of them. And to do it here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and stand on the same podium that Helio Castroneves stood on just a few months ago to take his 4th victory, that's a big deal.
It really is. And even if you're in the 3rd spot, these guys, they love racing each other. You hear them referencing each other. Man, I couldn't catch his pace. They all kind of know what's going on. They race together all year long. But the goal is obviously to stand on that Indy podium. And to be able to spray a little bit of some bubbly there is definitely something they all look forward to. And for those 3, they're going to get their chance here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, Mazda, the official sparkling wine of the SCCA Runoffs, is what they spray. Here's our top 10 unofficial results. Andrew Whitson with your win by 1/10 of a second over Brian Farnham. And then about 9 seconds back to Andrew Abbott in 3rd. Brandon Abbott, just another couple seconds back in 4th. Chris Jenner-John, the veteran, about 6 seconds further back in 5th. Alex Scaler, who was part of the battle for much of the race, faded to 6th at the end. Rick Shields, a good finish in 7th. Stephen Davis, Dean Curtis, and Ron Whitson. So we've got 2 Whitsons in the top 10. Pretty good way to finish the day for the family, as here come the highlights. And it was a Whitson 1-2 at the front with the 2 Abbotts going side by side. And there's Brian Farnham, the eventual 2nd place finisher, trying to make it happen. Here's Farnham locking up the brakes down inside. This is where he takes 3rd for the first time as Brandon Abbott retakes it. And then we've got a spin involving a couple cars. And you can see just a little bit of contact as Farnham touching with Alex Scaler, and Farnham able to move up into 2nd spot. And then Scaler getting spun by Zach Whitson down into the 1st turn. And this is where Andrew Whitson took the lead for the final time. And he was able to hold it by just that much as they crossed the line. So congratulations to Andrew Whitson, the first winner this year of the Super Sweep. And with that, that puts a period on the Formula V race for 2021. On behalf of Hayward Wagner and
Larry Lefty.
Larry Lefty McLeod, my name's John Phippen. Thanks to Mazda for sponsoring the Runoffs broadcast. We'll see you down the road.
When the finish line calls, we answer. Hit the road with insurance protection from Hagerty. Whether you drive a built racer, sports car, or exotic, and save an average of $264. Get a quote today at Hagerty.com.